Hey, yo, peace and blessings, family. So today, this is what I want to put out there. Let's make a commitment today to be better in every way. And the only way we can be better in every way that we set out to be is that we be very intentional about everything that we do from now moving forward. And the only way we can be intentional, deliberate, right, is to be aware, to be conscious. Because if we're not aware of what we do and what we say, then we can't be intentional. We can't be deliberate, and we damn sure can't be consistent. So what I'm saying is that in whatever ways that we desire to be better, whatever it is that we want to achieve, whatever it is we have set out to do, then let's be deliberate, let's be intentional, let's be conscious, aware of what we're thinking, what we say, and what we do. And I'm saying to the point of being very aware and intentional about what we do, when we do, and how we do it. You know, I remember I once heard before that even if you have to clean the toilet bowl, make sure that you do it in a way to where an individual will ask who done it. And the individual will applaud you for it, because understanding that even if you have to clean a toilet bowl, your name will be attached to it. And either you done a real damn good job, or you didn't do a good job at all. You did a trash job. Somebody else has to come behind you and done it. But guess what? Either way, your name is attached to it. And you have to be so intentional, so deliberate, moving forward about who you are, who you want to be, who and how you want to be seen, how you want the story to be told, how you want it to be written about your name, your legacy, and about the path that you lay out for your family, your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, the path that they have to then come travel behind you through. You really want that to matter. I remember when I was locked up, I used to pray that, hey man, I knew that because I understand how people say, oh man, that's your old man. Oh man, I knew your dad. I used to hear it a lot when I was growing up. Oh man, that's your mom. Oh man, I knew your mom. I used to hear it a lot when I was growing up. And guess what? The way people knew your parents play a part in how they treat the child. You feel what I'm saying? You see, you can have a bad name on you, a real dirty name, a real rat type name for yourself. That's the kind of reputation that you have laid out and left behind you, to where you make it real difficult for your brother, your sister, your child to even come behind you in that path, because they have to prove to this unjust world that they not like who they comparing you to. Before you even given a chance to prove who you are, I gotta prove who I'm not, right? But when you lay down a good name, a good reputation for your family to come behind, for your family to represent, guess what? That is something that they don't mind being associated to. So I say, moving forward, let's be deliberate. Let's be intentional. Let's be precise. Let's be particular. Let's be calculated. Because you gotta be calculated. When you're talking about drawing out and designing and creating your world, when you're talking about designing, creating, and fashioning your future, you gotta be so intentional and deliberate, because you are actually laying out a blueprint of what that should look like. You have to know what it's gonna look like before you can even put it into fruition, before it can even manifest. Because guess what? If you just say, bam, I just know what I want, I just know what I want, but you can't even break down what that's gonna look like, then you don't really know what you want. You have an idea, and when you have an idea, then you get something and say, well, I wanted it like this, but I should have been a little bit more intentional. I mean, I've heard women say, you know, I prayed for this kind of man, but I should have been a little bit more detailed about it. Because yeah, I kind of got him in a general sense, but I got some stuff that, hey man, I didn't know that was gonna come with this kind of guy. You see, so I in hindsight, I know what I don't want. But guess what? Your experience and your wisdom of looking at the lives of others should put you in a position to where you don't have to make the mistakes that they made in order to get something right. All you gotta do is to be a little bit more intentional, a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more detailed, specific. Meaning that you're gonna be mindful of the terminologies you use. You're gonna be mindful of what you put into the universe with your tongue. You're gonna be mindful of what you create with your hands. Why? Because what you create with your hands will be the very thing that you gotta deal with. I remember they used to talk about the movie Frankenstein. They'd be like, that's your Frankenstein. That's your child is your Frankenstein. That's what you created. That's what you built with your life, with the decisions that you made, with the things that you done right and you done wrong. So you got to deal with this. You got to deal with that creation. Well, let's be a little bit more deliberate. Let's be mindful of what we say. Let's be more intentional about the words we use. Let's draw this blueprint out in such a fashion to where not only do we know what it's going to look like, what's in each room, how big they are, how high the roof is inside, how wide the doorway is. Not only do we know all this, but we know exactly where we're going to build it at. We know on what type of terrain we're going to build it on. We know how the weather is in this particular location, in this environment. We know the kind of people that is typically in this environment. All this is important because we also know what we want to manifest up out of this environment. And you see, the environment has to be conducive to what we want to manifest and grow up out of it. But if we just keep moving forward with an idea of what we want something to look like, but we're not intentional enough. We don't feel it's important to be detailed enough. So then we find ourselves with something that we created, but not wanting to claim full responsibility for that which we created. We want to put off all the negative aspects of what we created on external forces. When in truth, you had everything to do with the world that you were dealing with. And I'm talking about your personal world. You see, all our individual worlds are different. But so your personal world, your individual world, you are 100% responsible for. Because either you was deliberate about some things or you wasn't. You was either specific and particular about some things or you wasn't. And you see, it is our lack to do the due diligence is oftentimes why we are discomforted, why we struggle and are challenged with the things that we find ourselves dealing with. So we gotta be more intentional, more deliberate, more conscious, more aware of what we do, so that we can then just relax in it, enjoy it. Peace and blessings.